Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rebecca Saunders Show. I have been itching to have this conversation with the wonderful Michelle Broadbent for a number of months now, and we finally pinned each other down for the chat after a fair bit of travel, I think, between the two of us. Isn't that right?
Yes, we have. We've been jumping on air. Well, I think you way more than me, but yes, between the two of us, we haven't been in the country very much.
Exactly, but we've pinned a date. We're doing the conversation, and Michelle, I brought you on today specifically to talk about reigniting genius zone. And you and I know what that means, but to those that don't really know that term, it's about really getting re-inspired back into business, right?
Absolutely. I think we have all look, I was seeing this. I've been doing this myself for 6 years now, and I was seeing this pre-pandemic. So we can't blame everything on COVID, but I do see this a lot where women fall out of love with their business. They get firmly fixed in that overwhelm, overdrive kind of mode of operating that they actually forget what they were good at, or they neglect the sort of work that inspires them where they are operating in that zone of genius. So a big chunk of the work that I do is actually bringing them back to that.
I love that. And you and I have had many a conversation about that, because I've done my own journey that people listening to the story and following me along will know that I've done what's the point of doing this? Oh, I'm really good at this. Oh, ups and downs, and it's the best year yet in COVID. And do I need to keep doing it this way? We always, no matter where we are in our business, no matter what level of income, perceived success, there's always going to be those ups and downs. Are you seeing that across the board in terms of people that have maybe had their business for a year versus 10 years? Is it the same sort of roller coaster ride, just slightly bigger and smaller drops?
You know what, that roller coaster vision, I think everyone can relate to. And what I see a lot, Rebecca, is that often that sort of first 12 months or so in business, you don't know what you don't know, right? So you are just, it's never been easier to start a business. You can get your website up and running in, a morning if you want to, or your social media channels, you can promote yourself. You can, tech allows you to, have people pay you really easily. It's so easy now to start a business. And then, you've got your friends and your family and the people that want to buy from you. And so it's kind of, in inverted commas, easy or easier now than it ever has been. Yes. But then what happens is once you've been doing it for a while, and then, maybe you've profile's a little bit higher, you're a little bit more visible. The tricks that were working in the beginning aren't working so much anymore. And that's when the pain kind of really starts to kick in. It's like, maybe you're not making consistent revenue like you were at the very, very beginning, or maybe it's just taken you a while to get started, but it's that early days enthusiasm and momentum tends to taper off. And then you kind of start to make decisions from a place of scarcity and panic. Because, you've put everything on the line. You might have quit your corporate job. You might be, really, really dependent. Well, I shouldn't say might be. We're all dependent on we need to earn money to feed ourselves and keep a roof over our head and all of that sort of thing. So, and then the further you go, that roller coaster, it's different. I guess you're just going on. It's like we're on different tracks, depending on the type of business that you have, what knowledge you develop, where your skills are too. I find there are some people that have that are quite business savvy there, and then there are other people that are incredibly good at the thing that they do. So whether it is being a graphic designer or web designer or interior designer or whatever, and they do incredible work, but they're not so great at running a business, right? Yes. And that's when they just start to feel like, what the hell am I doing? Like, really, what the hell am I doing? And they just lose sight of how great they are, and just kind of stay in this spiral of overwhelm and overdrive. So I think, and then you go way further down the line. I've got a lot of friends, speaking to a lot of people at the moment who have hit that 10 or 15 year mark in business, and that comes with a whole different set of issues. So, I hate to say this, but it doesn't end. It never ends. I think we just get better at managing it as time
You
goes
say
on.
that, there's copious amounts of wine drunk some evenings, and you're like, what am I doing?
Absolutely. And I think it's just knowing that they're not the only one. If it doesn't matter, whatever you are feeling, someone else somewhere, or lots of someone else's, are feeling the same way too.
Exactly. Now, you talked about there, not doing the thing. They end up getting the overwhelm because they're trying to do stuff that they're maybe not savvy about and they don't know. I see it a lot with contractors myself. You'd mentioned graphic designers. It happens the same in the video space, which is why I've been so successful. I've brought the business now to a video space because I still don't do the big filming and editing on the big cameras and the big fancy stuff, so I've been able to bring that and put structure, I guess, around their genius zone with my genius zone, and we've sort of built these boxes as they go out. As you're starting, if someone's listening now going, oh gosh, I can definitely feel that, where do they first look? Well, actually, it could be either, right? It could be either in terms of a contractor doing their genius zone, or someone wanting to expand to just grow theirs and get other people to do work under them. Where do you start when you delegate? I know for me, that's the hardest thing to write, is a job description and to bring someone in. Oh, I feel overwhelmed even saying it,
Yes.
But I know you help business owners understand how to bring in, or understand what tasks they need, right? And where do you start with even diving into that?
That's right. Look, I think in terms of starting, it's looking at those functions in your business that are bringing you that are essential to the running of the business. Okay, there is a lot of stuff that we do that we can just not be doing at all. But that's a story for another day.
That's for spending hours and hours on Canva, fiddling around with.
Correct. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Or resizing the cells in a spreadsheet or whatever. But there is stuff that we, that must be done as business owners, but they don't always necessarily need to be done by us. And often in our trying to master these things, we take way longer than is necessary to be doing those jobs. So the first place that I always suggest people start, Rebecca, is actually to monitor how you're spending your time as a business owner. So start there. How are you truly spending every single day? Because often, like we, as humans, we are time optimists. So it's that thing, oh, it only takes me 5 minutes. Oh, it only takes me 20 minutes to do that. But then all of those 5 minutes and all of those 20 minutes add up. And what you need to be focused on as the business owner is that revenue generating activity in your business that only you can do. So, you and I have talked about this before, about being, the salesperson in your business, being that business development person, being the face of your business. That's really important, particularly in those early stages. No one is going to be as passionate about your business as you are. It's got to be done by you, but you don't need to be resizing images in Canva, right? Someone else can do that. But often most people don't even know what the hell they're doing with their time. They get to the end of the week and go, where did the week go? So I will always suggest to people to do some kind of time task tracking exercise from just as a starting point to monitor how you are spending your time, and then look at those tasks that you're doing or those functions in your business where you're spending way too much time on that is it's stopping you from doing that revenue generating work that only you can do as the CEO of your business, and go, okay, there's 10 hours of social media management related tasks that I'm doing, that's costing me, what's the opportunity cost of that? Look at that. If you had those 10 hours to spend on revenue generating work for your business, imagine what you could do in that time. And the other thing is you get someone else to do that work for you. And most of the time, if you call in an expert, it's going to take them half the time because they know what they're doing. It's their zone of genius. So, you kind of, there's the business case for bringing in help. It's like, look at those things that are costing you money and costing you time and costing you energy that are out of your zone of genius, that don't need to be done by you, that's the stuff that you start delegating.
I think when I did that exercise, I did something slightly different a couple of years ago, where I was in that huge overwhelm mode in the middle of COVID, and I'm not very good with tracking time. So to try and stop and start and do that in a time sensitive thing was doing my head in even more right in that space. And so someone said to me, just at the end of the day or at lunchtime, just write down the tasks that you've done that day or that hour and just jot them down. Doesn't matter how long it took you, just what they were. And I ended up with 7 or 8 pages of tasks by the end of a couple of weeks, and just looking at it going, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm exhausted. And that's when I was able to pull it out into buckets. But you really don't realize how much you're doing as a business owner at all.
That's and it's only when you stop and actually monitor it and go, oh wow, like, you know, I have done a lot today. We all get to Friday afternoon and just go, God, sometimes, you know, it's like, what the hell did I achieve this week? Because the week has just gone by in a blink of an eye.
Exactly. And even a girlfriend of mine on Friday night said to me, why do we do this again? You know, why are we running our own thing? We're only working longer hours, and we, you know, it's, you know, I said to her, we're doing it because it will pay off in the long run, and we just need to get past the next hurdle as we grow it up. And it was one of those things. Both of us have been in business 10 and 12 years, I think, respectfully. And it was one of those things of, there's a reason for it, but we do, even after 10 years, get to the point where I go sometimes, God, I've just done 12 hours today. Like, that's not what I signed up for. That's not not why I did this. So, you know, when you're in that space and you're in that overwhelm, and sometimes for me, I was in my genius zone. I was creating something and having a really good time in those long days. But in terms of reigniting that passion into it, when you're stuck in that space, you know, I can feel, I just sort of put myself back in that space of that struggle of it just felt so not possible. Right. To get to find the fun again. What are the things that you've seen that can help people in finding that joy and that fun?
Oh, and look, it is, you know, we all have those days and weeks like that. And I think probably, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, Rebecca, because you've sort of had a few circuit breakers lately with the travel, for example. And that's something that I will help people try and find, is that, like, just breaking those patterns, those habits, and it just, first of all, identifying them. What are all of these things that are actually causing you to go into overwhelm? And it's that work that's masquerading as work, you know, the things that you don't really need to be doing. There's procrastination tactics. Procrastinating is another one that I see happening a lot. You know, oh, I can't do that because I need to do another course. Once I've got some more letters after my name, then I'm going to be able to, you know, it's all of those things that are sort of squishing us down, right? So I look for ways to actually, like, circuit break that and stop it, and break the cycle, break those habits, and doing things like shifting up your environment is a really, really good one. So step away from the laptop, step away from your desk, step out of your regular place of work, moving your body, like just going for a walk outside in nature. These are all, and these are all little things, but it's this sort of little stuff that can just, like, trick your brain into thinking in a different way. Because when we run our own business, we're in a bubble. We are so in a bubble. We're inward looking. There's always that feeling of, like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Is this going to work? Like, we're questioning ourselves constantly. So something that I found particularly, you know, we talked earlier about the travel thing. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone needs to jump in an airplane and fly up into the sky, but just that change of perspective, like actually flying up above, or, like, you know, flying over the top of Sydney when you know, I was flying a few weeks ago, and you look down on Sydney and you go, like, look at all of those houses, look at all of those buildings, look at, like, there's opportunity everywhere. But we forget, because we're so smothered in that day to day, and we forget why we bloody started it in the first place.
Exactly right. And I think when you're moving around, you're changing that scenery, you're changing the way you're thinking, as you said, and it's opportunities to meet people that you never knew or never thought to meet before, or the conversations. Now I'm going to say now I'm a dog owner. Like, I've had him a week, but I can already see in my head that I'm seeing people regularly out and about, and what conversations will come from that.
Rebecca, I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how many dog owner business owners that I know have got so much business from people they met at the dog park.
Exactly. And I'm so excited because actually when I moved to Australia, I worked in a dog park cafe in the West. Yes. And that's how I got a few of my first clients, was just having those conversations, and it got me out of hospitality as a backpacker essentially into doing my own thing. So I know the power of going for that walk.
The power of your dog as a draw card.
So excited. But one other thing I learned actually on Necker Island, someone said to me, charge your laptop and then leave the charger at home and take it with you. And then when it dies, your workday's finished. I like that. And so I've been doing that now for the last couple of months, going, if I don't need my big computer at home and I don't need to be in the studio, I could change up my environment, take my laptop and go somewhere different. And it's almost kind of a game. It's like, I've only got 30% left. I've got these 3 things to do. Go. So I'm having fun in challenging myself in that way. But before I wrap up, and thank you so much for your insights today, there's one more topic I wanted to touch on, and that is where business owners in the last couple of years have attempted, successfully or unsuccessfully, to move into that virtual environment. They've put all of their eggs into that space because maybe lockdowns meant they couldn't operate, or their bricks and mortar business went under, and for whatever reason it either hasn't worked or they're trying to put so much energy into that they're losing the focus on what now is going to make them money. Where are you seeing that balance now? And for anyone that's stuck in that space, there's a whole new space of overwhelm now, because they're almost running 2 businesses.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's something that, COVID has taught us is about not putting all of our eggs in one basket. Sadly, a lot of the businesses that I was supporting, when all the lockdowns started a couple of years back, there was a lot of, speakers, workshop facilitators, authors, keynote speakers. That's people whose business was very dependent on them delivering face-to-face and seeing that pivot to, God, that word, I can't believe that flew out of my mouth. So that pivot,
that one was so last year
to digital, that, and a lot of the, all of the businesses that I support are service providers, and something that I really work very hard with my clients on is making sure that they have multiple streams of revenue, but that there is a strategy behind it. So where I think a lot of people go wrong is when they just go, online is the answer, and that's where I'm going to put everything, without actually giving a lot of thought to what their customers want and how, I've seen a lot of where people have gone wrong. It's like, they're used to delivering their service in that one-to-one way. Their clients want them to do the thing, right? And then they go, I'm going to create an online program. And the client's like, oh yeah, that's great, but I still want you to do the thing. So it's like working out how you can have that nice mix, and potentially build up to, not build up, like more tapering off of that one-to-one, but done in a strategic way. There has to be thought behind it. It can't just be slapping Band-Aids all over everything.
You can't just turn the taps on and off. Like, you've got to get the water supply right? It's a balancing act.
That's right. And I think now too, because we have been online for so long, that people are fatigued. They are. And they're just like, oh no. And I'm even noticing it now when you give people the option of Zoom or meeting in person, particularly for the first time. It's like, oh, can we meet in person? Yes, of course we can. I'm more than happy happy to do that. But I think that, yeah, we just need to look at different ways to deliver our service and be clever about that, using tools that are available to us, but not forgetting what are your customers' expectations, the people that are actually paying you for your service. What do they want?
What do they want, and what is going to get money in the bank, right? Like it's that's what's going to keep the business going. So we've almost done a full circle in terms of what are those tasks that you need to be doing to get that money in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Michelle, I know you have so many resources that people can download, jump into. You have your own podcast that you share more of your gems with on a regular basis. Where can people come and find more?
Well, come and visit. So my website is michellebroadbent.com.au. I hang out on Instagram a lot. I'm not yet, I mean, you know, as we record this, there's been a whole heap of changes to the platform, but I am still going to be there. So come along and follow me there. It's at Mich, M-I-C-H, Broadbent. And like you said, I've got a podcast as well, which is called Your Business Boost, which comes out every Monday. But yeah, just come along and connect and say hi, and I will say hi right back.
Amazing. And I'll put all of those links into the show notes so that people can just click away or make it easy for them.
Fantastic.
Michelle, thank you so much for jumping on the show. I have loved our conversation. It was every bit that I needed it to be this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.